that ain't saved a wretch like me. You're here, I'm pleased, I really feel your company. Your style, your smile, your pace mentality. Lord, have mercy on me. I was blind, now I can see what a king's supposed to be.
Excuse me, miss. I was in the waiting room when you gave your testimony. And what I realized is that we have an enemy in common. While you were being called to the office again, I was being put out the only home I've ever known. While you were shaking with anxiety and fear over something no one ever wants to hear, I was shaking in dread. Because we all know what happens to little girls that have no home and no one to claim them. I think our souls passed each other by. See, my soul left me a long time ago in a dingy motel room, ripped away by brutal force. It fled, unable to find its way back home.
Historical people, who would you want in your seat and why?
Wow. I guess because I'm different. You know, I'm not really starstruck. And so it would be hard to really pinpoint anybody in particular. First person that just came to my mind, you know, I mean, if I had an opportunity to cut Denzel, you know, I would.
That's a good one.
I'd do that.
That would be a dope conversation.
Exactly.
How important is diversity in your work, considering you grew up in a bilingual, bicultural home?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important. I think at this point, just in society, there's just so much diversity. You know, whether it be in language, whether it be in your upbringing, whether it be, you know, in whatever that is. And so I think growing up in, you know, a bilingual household as well as really a bicultural, despite the fact that, you know, my parents are you know, both of Hispanic descent, but growing up in two different cultures of, you know, very traditional values in the home and very different, and sometimes similar values, right, outside of the home, but in different ways, right?
Yeah.
He tests those whom he loves. I pray he continues to love me till my death. I pray he continues testing me and testing me and testing me until I have no questions left. Until I can ingest knowledge and choke on lies and spit out truth with every breath. But you see, until love for what he loves and hate for what he hates is the only thing that's left within my chest. I know that I will constantly fight to love what's right because I was created with a heart that sits slightly to the left. But I'm okay with that. Because I always knew and always know that he knows exactly what is best. You see, he knew that it would only be a matter of time before I would open my eyes and finally realize that I needed to look deep down inside and pull out the divide so that my heart and my mind would collide and learn to work together.
What's going on? What's going on, my good people, online community? We are back for another and powerful episode of Ordinary Conversations with Extraordinary People. I am your host, Willie Beeman. I'm excited about this episode here. This is somebody I've learned to know, being in meetings and being a part of you guys' city council meetings and just learning who you are and what you do. You definitely are a man of service. So without further ado, let me introduce him. He was born in Santa Paula, California, but raised in Everman, Texas. Happily married for 44 years to Isabel with 2 sons and 4 grandchildren. served over 32 years with the Arlington Fire Department, dedicated 20 years volunteering with the Everman Baseball Association, served 11 years as Everman City Council member in place 6, and last but not least, he was elected mayor of Everman in 2013 and continues to serve the community with fairness and integrity. Online community, in-person family, let's give a warm welcome to the one and only Mayor Ray Richardson.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. How you feeling? How's your week been going? I know it was in the house.
I'm glad to be out of the house. It's been a long week.
Yeah, it definitely has. Mayor, I always like to kick off the show, just allowing our guests to kind of walk us through their upbringing, their childhood, things that they had to encounter to become the man or woman that they are today. I know you are a man of service. You served in multiple areas. So, but before we get to all of that, just kind of walk us through who was Ray Richardson as a child.
Oh gosh, we, like I said, I was born in California, but all the earthquakes and flooding and everything going on. My dad was in the Marines.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm a Marine brat, a military
Military
brat.
brat, yeah.
But we moved back here. My grandparents lived in Lancaster, Texas. So we moved back to Texas and stayed with them just a little bit till we found a house over here in Fort Worth. And we rented it for a little bit till my parents were able to find a house in Everman. And that was like 71, I believe.
Wow.
Totally different environment back then. It just me and my brother and my cousin. My cousin lived a couple streets over.
Yeah.
So had 2 sisters, but the 3 of us boys, we got on our bicycles and we were all over this town.
That sounds like me.
There wasn't an inch of Everman that we didn't cover.
Wow.
So we were the storm drains, riding our bikes through that. There, back then we used to have Mr. Wizards. There was a game room.
Wow.
Arcade.
Yeah.
Up at the Everman Shopping Center, and we'd collect Coke bottles and sell the Coke bottles to go in there and play games.
Do whatever you could. Yeah.
So, but
I like that.
Just a lot of street football and baseball with all the kids on the street, and product of the Everman School District.
Wow.
So don't hold that against them. So, but everything's just kind of falling in line for me. Like I said, I think I told you earlier, I think God had a plan for me because I didn't go looking for anything that's happened to me. It's come to me.
Yeah.
And, just everything just took the right avenue to get me where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I definitely can relate to your childhood. You mentioned riding the bikes and going to different neighborhoods. I went to South Hills High School. That is not too far from here. I'm 20. Lived over there from freshman through junior year. And yeah, me and my friends, we would ride our bikes through the neighborhood, just getting out. But also you mentioned, growing up and playing, the street football and basketball. And so I do remember those childhood moments. And most of that came from the city of Forest Hill. I have roots here. My uncle still lives across the way. I had some friends who live right down the street. And so Forest Hill has always been a part of my life as well. So I definitely can relate to those childhood memories.
Well, everybody hung out at our house because my mother was always out there with us.
Yeah.
My mother was a tomboy, and we'd be out there playing baseball or whatever. She's right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So, and everybody came to our house to play.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You mentioned father being in the military as a child and even as a teen growing up. How was that for you? Was there a lot of traveling, moving around, instability?
No, his military was over when we moved.
Okay.
So we came back to Texas, and he worked for Container Corporation, which it's Jefferson Smurfit or something now off the freeway, but he retired from there driving trucks, and they do cardboard boxes and things like that. So didn't really see my dad much because his work schedule. He went to work at 2 and got home at 10.
Wow, yeah.
And so when he got home, we were in bed, and we got up to go to school. He was in bed. So just only seen him on the weekends for the most part. And on the weekends, he just wanted to relax. So, but
let's get into you mentioned being a part of this Everman community and growing up as a child and being a part of Everman ISD. For you being in high school and even just going up to the 12th grade, how did attending Everman ISD from 1st through 12th grade shape your sense of community pride, knowing that you've been here for so long?
You know, Everman's a small, tight knit community. Not as tight as it was back then, but you know, we do have a lot of renters now. You know, back then everybody owned their houses.
Yeah.
And everybody knew everybody. So uh, things have changed somewhat. You know, we still have the people who were born and raised there. We've got people who were born in Everman, they've died in Everman.
Wow.
People have been there 80 something years, and that was actually before Everman became a town. So we just celebrated our 80th anniversary.
Wow, that's awesome.
In July
of last.
So yes, we couldn't do a 75th because of COVID. We couldn't celebrate it, but so we did our 80th. Of course, I was out of town. I missed it, but it just had a lot to do with it. You know, you go to school, and some people that were at the school, I still think about them and the path they kind of put me on. You know, the high school coach,
yes,
you know,
yes,
the football coach,
yes,
and
yes.
Coach Jay Law, loved him to death. He instilled in you that he wanted you to make good grades.
Right.
And when we got our report cards, our parents didn't see them first. He did. We'd go in, he'd come into the room, and we'd have to sit at attention. And if he turned around, your eyes better be on him. And Coach Law, he would go around the room looking at everybody's report card.
Wow.
And if you had a C or less, you got SWATs. And he told everybody he expects better out of his football players. And I never got SWAT, so I must have been doing something right.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah, no.
But I still have very fond memories of him.
Yeah.
I just and just coaches I've had
throughout the
playing baseball as a small kid and stuff. Just those people, and to see them volunteer their time and the levels. You know, it was a father and son that coached my football teams.
Wow.
And we didn't have hardly any money. We were very poor, and they would always do an annual banquet. And they had one, and Golden Richards from Dallas Cowboys was there. And we wasn't going to get to go because we didn't have the money. But not the son, but the dad, Dub Lovell, I think was his name. Actually, his mother, or the wife, was on Everman City Council for a long time. Mildred Lovell. But they paid for our tickets because they wanted us to be there. So me and my brother got to go. We got to see Golden Richards, and got to be a part of it. So, and people just reached out to help each other.
Yes, that's so important.
If they needed it.
Yeah.
You don't see as much of that now as you used to, or if you do, it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. I think building a community is so important, man. We can't do the things we do, the successes. We can't do them by ourselves. It takes a community. It takes a village to shape and mold us. And so you mentioned the coach who took it serious, and looking at you guys' report cards, I think when it comes to even athletes, they get so caught up in the sport or the talent, but they neglect, the education part of it. And so that's very vital.
Well, everything was yes sir, no sir to him, and the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And just an incredible individual. And he wasn't there my senior year, so I didn't even play. I would have played football if he'd been there, but I wasn't going to start with a new coach my senior year.
Wow.
So I stepped down. So.
Speaking of that, this kind of segues into my next question. I guess who were some mentors, teachers, or community leaders that helped guide you along the way? You mentioned being a part of, playing different sports and going to different events. Who were some other mentors that helped shape and mold you to become who you are today?
Well, some of my teachers. I just got word today, one of my teachers in the hospital. She's not doing well, but she was my 5th grade teacher. And I've known her 50 something years. Gives you an idea how old I am. But she's not doing well, Miss Delretha Randall. And I still see her. I would see run into her occasionally, and she's always so proud of me that what became of me. Uh, Judy Graham was my Cub Scout leader, and every time she sees me, here she comes. You know, she wants to hug me, and she's just tells me how proud she is of me.
Wow.
Had a teacher, Mr. Burns, George Burns, and he taught world history. Amazing individual. He just passed away a couple years back, but he would, when we got done with all of our assignments, he would break out the chess boards and we would play chess in his classroom. So he was teaching us something other than, checkers,
Yeah.
teaching us chess, something where you have to think.
Yes.
So, and I always enjoyed that.
Yeah. Let's get into some of your fields of work. You are definitely, like I mentioned earlier, a man of service who have served in multiple capacities. And I know we talked offset of you being an EMT earlier on, in your life. So you began your career as a volunteer for the Everman Volunteer Ambulance. What motivated you to step into that role at such a young age?
There was a guy I went to high school with that he had signed up, and he talked to me about it, and he said, "Hey, just come try this," And so I went and applied, and they accepted me. And back then it was the Schlangensteins were the family that kind of oversaw the whole thing. I believe Judy, or what was her name? Can't remember her first name, but she was she was worked for the city, but her and her husband were real big in the ambulance back then. And I knew a lot of the guys were volunteer firefighters, but there wasn't a lot of them that did the ambulance stuff. So I went and I started taking the class, became an ECA first, which is just it was like a weekend or something, or a couple weekends to just get your very basics. And after doing that and working ambulances for a couple months, I went ahead and got my EMT, which a little bit more, we went to TCOM. It was weekly for a couple months and got that certification. And I had that, up until the city of Arlington had us all become EMTIs, emergency management technician intermediates. I could start IVs, do endotracheal intubations.
Wow.
I could do a lot of stuff, just couldn't do anything that had to do with heart medications because you had to be able to read an EKG.
Wow.
So, but I can't tell you how many times I was out on the freeway or dark road at 2:00 in the morning starting an IV on somebody in the dark. And it was exciting, to be able to help people. And you see a lot of the paramedics now, they're not running ambulances anymore because they can't make any money doing it. It's not a very well paying job. So now they're working at hospitals, making good, decent money because you want somebody to come in and start an IV on you or something. You want it to be that person that can do it in the dark. So, so a lot of them have gotten away from the ambulance business for that reason.
Wow. Can you share with us, I guess, any memorable moments to where you had the ability to help someone and get through those tough times? You mentioned doing the different things in the dark and as an EMT. So do you have any memorable moments?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I've got bad ones and I've got good ones.
Yeah.
And I'll start with the bad one of the bad ones. And we got called out late one night on a cardiac arrest. And we get to the apartment complex. I jump out to open the gate. Well, when I was out, they told the crew it was a baby. I didn't know that. We pull up. I grab the kit for the adults. I run upstairs, and it's an African-American man with his baby. This baby's maybe a month old. He hands me this baby. And I was just dumbfounded. I was not prepared for it to be a baby. And fortunately, the ambulance pulled in right behind us. So I'm down the stairs in the back of the box. And that one still haunts me. I've got some worse ones, but I won't go into that. One of the last calls I made before I retired, we got called out on a drowning, and once again, it was African American male. He went in the pool, and I don't know if he had a heart condition or something, but we got there. He was laying out, and police are talking to him, and I'm the first one to him, and I check him. He doesn't have a heartbeat.
Hmm.
So I start CPR on him. Well, the other crews get there, and they hook up the defibrillators and start the IOs, which is an IV. They go
Yeah.
through the bone of the leg, and they did all that while I was doing compressions. And that guy, he left the hospital. He survived.
Wow.
So I got a life-saving award for that one.
Wow.
That was one of the last ones I had. But it was when I'd go to the hospital doing CPR, it was kind of neat because the doctors, they would tell me to stop my compressions because they thought the patient had a heartbeat.
Hmm.
And I'd stop, and the doctor would look at me. He said, "You're doing that."
Hmm.
I said, "Yeah." And he'd tell me start back up again. So he thought the patient actually had a heartbeat from my chest compressions.
Wow.
It's just it was one thing I was very good at. So uh, I did chest compression on a lady that got burned in a house fire. She was 8 months pregnant, and we got there, and this was many years ago. But I was driving. It was back when I worked for the ambulance, and my paid days as ambulance. And we got in the back of the ambulance. I told my partner we was going to Arlington Memorial, and I got on the radio and called, said, "Tell the hospital we're coming. Here's what we got." And we got there. I started chest compressions. We got in the ER, and they had a crew from the OB doctor's office there waiting on us. And they did an emergency C-section, delivered that baby.
Wow.
While I was doing chest compressions on her. And the baby lived for a month and a half, but the baby finally died. It'd been down too long. But we got a nice letter from the dad thanking us because he had time to spend with that baby.
Wow.
So, there was some good that came out of it, but it was a horrendous scene.
Mm.
And my heart still goes out to him to lose a child and a wife. He lost 2 children in that fire.
Mm.
So just a bad scenario.
Mm. What did that do to you, I guess, as a human being, knowing that you were in these tough, intense situations? I know you guys probably get the training and the preparation to make sure that when you are in these situations that you're well prepared. What did that do to you mentally and emotionally?
It makes you crusty. It makes you I don't know if anything can prepare you for some of the stuff I've seen.
Mm.
Children always got me. I have had a hard time. Yeah, when you get there and you've got 6 kids laying in the yard that are all in full arrest from a house fire, and you're doing CPR on them. We had that once. I went backstage, I almost quit.
Mm.
Because I had little kids at home.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's no way I can do this. Adults, adults have a little bit of say so on what happens to them. Kids don't.
Yeah.
And I've run so many with bad things with children, and it just wore me out.
Mm.
But back then we didn't have people to talk to. Now they have counselors and stuff come in.
Therapists, yeah.
Back then everybody went backstage, you just dealt with it.
Wow.
And it was tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Just so many things I've seen that I'll never forget.
Mm.
I wake up I've been retired going on 9 years in May. I wake up every night thinking I'm at the fire station.
Wow.
I had dreams last night. I was getting on the fire engine with some of the crews, and we were going somewhere. And that's every night. And
Wow.
it,
Yeah.
I would have thought at this point, I don't sleep well. But I've always worked at busy stations. You're typically getting up all night every night. And so that has an effect on me. I've never gotten over that.
Wow. Also, I think that makes you appreciate life as well when you're in those intense and tough situations. Being in that type of field of work, I think it definitely makes you wake up and appreciate life and appreciate those that are around you, those that are still living and breathing. Your wife, your kids, your grandchildren. and having the ability to love on them more and embrace them more, knowing that you went through some of those situations.
Well, I do know that when my first son was born and the second one, when I was home, I was up all night because SIDS deaths were real big back then.
Yeah.
And the sudden infant death syndrome. And every time I got up, I was in there checking, make sure they were still breathing.
Wow.
Because I'd ran so many of them. And, you know, my 32 plus years with the Arlington Fire Department, I worked several stations over that career, but I spent 4 years on the east side, and it was a low income area. It was predominantly, it's very diverse. It was, I mean, one of the largest Asian populations in the nation is there. We had an African American bar, we had a Latin bar, we had a country bar, and those are the fondest times I had in Arlington, because those people, when they call you because they don't have anybody else to call. They call you because they have a true emergency, or to them it's an emergency. And if I could have gone on there, I would have, but I made a commitment to one of our chiefs that I would go to another station with him, and I did that. But some of my fondest times were at that station.
Wow.
Taking care of people that didn't have insurance and the incomes and stuff to take care of the daily needs that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade those 4 years for nothing.
Yeah. You mentioned the word emergency. How did emergency situations help shape and mold you to become the leader in this role, being current, mayor of Everman? How did those situations prepare you, knowing that you have to be quick, you have to be sharp, you have to be focused, you have to be calm? How did those situations help you now?
Well, I mean, like I told you, when I ran for mayor, I didn't want to run for mayor.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there was a lady here just a minute ago. She ran against me.
Wow.
And she was checking out a book. But I had a bunch of the firemen, the volunteer firemen in the city that came up, and they were really big wanting me to run. And because they knew I was a fireman and I'd done the ambulance thing and everything, and they knew I'd be more sympathetic to their needs. And, public safety's always top of my list.
Yeah.
We want to make sure our citizens are taken care of.
Exactly.
Because we did 6 years back, we had a city manager. He was filling in between Michael Box and then our current city manager, Craig Spencer.
Yeah.
And he wanted to shut down the ambulance. And I started making phone calls and said, hey, here's what he's trying to do. I said, we want to keep our ambulance because the only alternative was to go to rural metro, or not rural metro, MedStar in Fort Worth. And back then, a priority 2 call, which is a heart attack or something like that, they were allowed to have a 15 or 16-minute response time. To me, that wasn't acceptable. Not when our ambulance could be there in 2 minutes.
Wow.
That's the difference between life and death. And we had a lot of citizens came up and they said, charge us, we'll pay to keep our ambulance. We want to keep our ambulance. And so I was able to shut that down. And I might have got off a little off track.
No, you're good.
But we just wanted to keep our ambulance. So we don't want to rely on Fort Worth, because once you give up something, it's hard to get it back. You get in with Fort Worth, and Forest Hill's learning that now with some of the things.
Yeah.
It's once you crawl into bed, it's hard to get back out.
You're right about that.
So, we've got a good working relationship right now with Fort Worth, and it's taken us years to get to this point, but we don't want to rely on them. It just, there are some areas we have to, but we want to keep as much control of our cities as we can.
Possible. Yeah.
So I want Fort Worth, every time I call, I want them to cringe, say, oh no, it's the mayor of Everman again. And but we've moaned and complained enough about the situations with them that they're listening. And we've made contacts with the right people that like I said, we call with an issue or situation, they're a lot more receptive to us than they have been in the past.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
yeah. I want to go back a little bit, Mayor. You being on city council, place 6, leading up to you making that decision to take on the responsibility of being mayor. You first joined the Everman City Council, place 6. What were some of your goals and priorities when you took on that role?
when I came into it, once again, it was I had a couple of the council members that asked me to run. The spot was vacating, so they asked me to run. I ended up running against 2 people in that one, and I won. Uh, but the current mayor at the time, Jim Stevenson, he was the mayor before me. He's passed since, but he's the one. I've known him since I was a kid, and he's the one that came up to me and asked me to run, and I went into it with open mind. Of course, like I said, public safety is always
Always the top,
big.
top of the
Uh,
list.
There's some things. My view of things have changed somewhat because there's a lot bigger things to fry in the city than
Yeah.
some of the things I had been thinking about. Children's activities have always been big to me.
Wow.
Our parks, programs.
Yeah.
Right now we're trying to get with the Everman Baseball Association. We're trying to work out with them to let's sit down and see what we can do to build up this association.
Yeah.
I ran that association for 20 years. Well, I didn't run it for 20 years. I was on the board for 20 years.
Yeah.
But I ran it for maybe 8 or 9 of those years. And we had 5 or 6 teams on every field. We didn't have to interlock with anybody. If we interlocked with somebody, it was to help them out. Now they have to interlock just to have enough teams to play.
Wow.
So it's sad. They've lost those kids, and those kids have gone elsewhere. But we've got to get some stability there and start bringing these kids back to Everman.
Yeah.
And build up our programs. We had looked at big brothers and big brothers and sisters. Big brothers, yeah. But it was just cost prohibitive. We don't have the money that would be needed to start that program here.
Right.
Sadly, but because it was going to cost us, what was it, $150,000, $200,000 a year, and it's a lot of money for a small town.
Right.
So we've got to look at our community first. Now, like I said, my goals have changed. I wasn't aware of the flooding issue we've always had.
Right.
And it reared its ugly head in 2018. And of course, I'd only been mayor for, 4 years?
4 years at the time.
Of course, it was my fault. So, and, I've made a lot of people mad, but I've made a lot of friends too that their houses have flooded. There used to be a couple there backed up to the creek, the Binions, Walter and Ann Binion. And I'd go visit them, and she passed away last year. She was 87, 88. But I promised her, I said, Mrs. Binion, I said, we're going to get this situation taken care of, however long it takes. She said, I won't live to see it.
Wow.
And that sits on me.
Oh, yeah.
That I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it because it takes time to do anything in the government.
Yeah.
Now her husband, he's in a assisted living facility. I still try to go see him. I actually went Christmas Eve and visited with him and took him some cookies and to see how he was doing. And he just wants to get back home, but he's 90 or 91 now. And I just think there's some concern about him being there by himself.
Yeah.
So just awesome people. And there's been some other people I've met. They've just, we've developed really good relationships.
Yeah.
But that's high priority on our list we've got to come up with the funding. We only need about $37 million. So anybody out there wants to make a donation, if Elon Musk is listening, we'll take 38 million, and we promise you it'll all be used for flood mitigation.
No, absolutely.
So
all the work that you've done, and even here, being at the Forest Hill Public Library, we're really, really big on impacting the community with our innovative programs that we put in place, whether it be for the senior community all the way down to the children. For you being the mayor of Everman, can you recall a time when listening to community feedback led to a positive change or solution? I guess some things that they wanted to be done, and you guys were able to get that done.
Well, and one of them was the ambulance.
Yeah.
The community showing up and saying, we want to keep our ambulance. But it was also, we were looking at our trash contract last year. We had a lot of people show up, say, keep it like it is. We don't care if we have to pay more money. We had a lot of people want to keep our waste contract as is. They wanted to keep the recycling because we were looking at tweaking it, trying to bring down the cost to our citizens. And everybody showed up, said, no, we like our service. We want to keep our service, keep it as is. So we've done that, but there's been several times like that. Trying to think. That's the two that stand out the most.
Yeah.
But well,
yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Going back to partnerships, that's something that we really take pride in as well here at the library, making sure that we are partnering with the right people, putting the right resources in place, for our community here, and just different programs, whether it be partnering with Goodwill. We just had a job fair here recently, had 80 plus people here, and put them in position to get employment, whether it be for our children. You mentioned children, our story times, and partnering with people who can help elevate story time and bring in, diverse families. So that's something that we're really, really big on. So for you, what are some ways the Forest Hill Library and the city of Everman can strengthen this relationship in order to better serve the community? What would you say?
The hardest thing for Everman residents is to leave their city to go to a library, even though you guys are as close as you are.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
And a lot of them really took it hard that we shut down our library.
Yeah.
But we were in a situation we couldn't go on. When it was costing us over $1,000 a book.
You talked about that, yeah.
It for an entire year, a little over 100 books were checked out in an entire year.
Wow.
So it was costing us over $1,000 per book to be checked out of our library. And we would never have gotten to the point to offer the things that you guys were able to offer here. There's a lot of loopholes and things you have to jump through with state certifications and things. And we just wasn't in any position to go after those. So financially, or, we just didn't have the staff available to do it.
Yeah.
Forest Hill's done it right. It's a great partnership. I've got a membership card here. I need to come in and start checking out some books.
Talked about that. Yeah.
So I need to start bringing my grandkids up here. I want them to get off the games and start reading.
Yeah.
So my youngest grandson, he's sick. Well, my only grandson, he's 6, but he's starting to read, and he's reading everything. He just he's reading signs. You go to, hey, Papa, what's this? And he asks what something is. And
wow, he's curious.
Very inquisitive. My oldest granddaughter and my second oldest granddaughter the same way. It's neat to kind of throw a big word out there and watch them try to figure it out how to say it. But, but they're just unfortunately, they spend way too much time on electronic devices.
Yeah.
So I think getting them up here and just getting some books they can get through, read, and understand, and I think would be a big step. Especially when they come stay with us and say, okay, you're here, but you're going to read a book while you're here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to start doing that.
Yeah.
So if we go on vacation, take them, I want to take a couple books with us and just give them, say, hey, you can't get on your electronic devices. We're on a cruise.
Yeah.
So, but when you have free time, you can read.
Yeah.
So, and see how that works out. So,
yeah.
But there's so many areas where we've kind of joined at the hip with Forest Hill and Kennedale, where our animal control it started off just Forest Hill and Everman, but now we have Kennedale and Edgecliff Village are part of that. Wow. So it's grown to 4 cities. Our dispatch center covers the entire unincorporated area of Tarrant County, plus it covers, I think there's 16 or 17 different entities that we dispatch for. We cover more area than anybody else in Tarrant County.
Wow.
Our dispatch center. And I know Craig likes bragging about that. I like bragging about Craig. Craig doesn't like you to brag on him. He always says, Mayor, it's a team effort. He doesn't like you to brag about him. But he's been the driving force behind a lot of this. And when he came in, like I said, I had a direction I wanted to go in. He's my 4th city manager. The first one, she'd been there for a while, and we talked, and she decided to retire. It was just time, and we promoted from within Michael Box, and of course Michael came down with stage 4 cancer, and his only request was for me to allow him to die on the job. So I did that, and our finance director at the time stepped up for about a year and filled the role, and Craig Spencer and I had already had the conversation about him becoming the city manager.
Right.
And he came up and said, Mayor, I don't want to do it. So that was music to my ears at that point, because I just knew how he did things, how he worked, how meticulous he is. And I can go to Craig with anything, and I can say, Craig, I got this email about this deal here. I don't understand it. He said, what do you know about it? He said, I don't know anything. He said, let me check on it.
Let me figure it out.
2 hours later, he'll come in and be fully versed in it.
Wow.
And he'll sit there and discuss the entire thing with me. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
I could never do that. I'd have to reread that sucker 8 or 10 times and still only get about half of it. But he's young. He's been good for the city.
Wow.
Not to say the other ones weren't, but they served. We're all pieces of a puzzle.
Yes, always.
And we've had some people left, and they've been kind of disgruntled because they thought, well, with that first city manager, she said, well, you guys will be Fort Worth before long. But you think kind of highly of yourself. It just, and things are better now than they ever have been.
Yeah.
You're just another piece. When you're gone, somebody else is going to take your spot.
Somebody going to fill that role. Yeah.
And I went through that with the fire department. That morning when I retired, I went out there usually they let you go the night before, but I said, no, I'm finishing my shift. I want to be here. I didn't retire because I necessarily wanted to. There was some things going on that I was fixing to lose all my time. They were going to pull everybody's sick time, vacation time, not vacation, but sick time and holiday time from them. And I never used it. I was maxed out on everything. And up until then, they bought it. They paid you for it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to have to retire. But that morning, I sat out in the bay, and I was out there. My shift ended. I was out there an hour and a half later, still trying to take my stuff off the truck. I was in tears because my whole life changed. And because I had a purpose, and at 6 o'clock that morning, my purpose came to an end.
Wow.
And that was very difficult for, looking back, it was going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on dying on the job. So,
right.
But very interesting job. I would recommend fire department to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of bad stuff. If you can't handle a little bit of pressure and stuff, then probably not for you. But great career. Lots of possibilities for advancement. Decent pay, and I've got a good retirement. So I couldn't ask for things to be better.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned, from what I'm hearing, problem solving from Craig, City Manager Craig Spencer. Man, that's amazing, having an ability to have a skill set like that. I think it's important to have the right people around you when it comes to having a team and building a team. I was reading a book, currently reading a book called How to Influence People by John Maxwell. And in the book, he talked about the area of problem solving. He was like, one of the quotes was, it's not whether or not you will have difficult problems, but it's whether or not you have the same problem from the following year. And so I think that's very important, having those quick problem solving skills. And so for you, how has it been working with people like Craig Spencer and even everybody else on city council, making sure that you guys are working like a well-oiled machine?
Well, they're invaluable. People like Craig, because I don't know everything. I'm not going to pretend to know everything.
Yeah.
And he's a lot younger than I am. He's college educated. I'm not. I didn't have that option available to me.
Yeah.
I knew when I got out of high school, I was actually talking to a Marine recruiter, and my mother told me if I signed up for the Marines, I'd never make it because she was going to kill me. So my dad was a Marine.
Wow.
And she said, we're not going through that again. So, but having people that know what they're doing, our public works guy, Gilbert Ramirez, he came from another city. He's very knowledgeable. Our human resources person, she was promoted into the spot, but she's doing a fantastic job. There's just so many. Our finance director, she came in and took over, and I mean, she puts so much time into our budget and preparing it and everything else. There's times I'll drive by on Sundays or Saturdays. She's up there in her office, and some days she's there 6-7 days a week.
Wow.
So it's a good thing we don't have a huge budget. But a lot of it too is just having good connections.
Yes.
In the past, they hadn't tried to make a connection with Fort Worth or, they had a little bit of a connection with Commissioner Brooks, which to me, that man, he hung the moon. Commissioner Roy Charles Brooks, he loved our city. We needed anything, we'd call him, and like we'd have an issue and we're trying to figure out, and we'd just want to come talk to him and say, we just want your advice on something.
Right.
We'd get there, he had staff there, and he'd say, well, let's do this. And he would take charge of it and it'd be done.
Wow.
And we were just looking for advice on how you think we should proceed. And he's helped us out so many times. And I think Roderick Miles is doing the same thing. Roderick told us that our city is very important to him. I know us and Forest Hill both are.
Yes.
With the redistricting they did, we're the only 2 cities that Roderick has now.
Wow.
And so hopefully he's going to be devoting a lot of time to our 2 cities with our road projects and everything else. So, but just knowing the right people. When you become mayor, you end up on a lot of committees.
Yeah.
And holy cow, I'm fixing to get on another one. Don't tell my wife. But when you become mayor, there's a Tarrant County Mayor's Council, and it's all the mayors get together every other month, and they go over stuff that the county's presenting to us. There's funding, whether it was the ARPA funds during COVID and those things, or HUD money and stuff. It's all done through CDBG grants. But you go through them to get it. But you get on that committee. Well, then if you show up all the time, well, next thing you know, you're sitting on the board, which I went through all the roles. And of course, exactly. When I was the chair of the committee, it was during COVID. So we had to make all of our meetings virtual.
Yeah.
I had one in-person meeting, and which was a disappointment to me. But I don't like speaking in front of crowds, but do if I have to. But I'm forcing myself to do it. I'm getting better.
Yeah. I think sometimes you have to get uncomfortable a little bit, in order to grow. Yeah.
But right now I'm at the North Central Texas Council of Governments. I sit on a committee there. It's the Emergency Preparedness Council. And what we do is there's federal money that the REPAC committee applies for.
Right.
And we come in and we're the oversight committee for the REPAC committee, which is the Regional Emergency Preparedness Action Council, I think. But I'm the chair of that committee. And so I'll be the chair for 2 years. I was the vice chair, but now I'm the chair, and I run all the meetings.
Wow.
And but we get a number of projects, and they police, fire, dispatch centers. There's public works. It's things to help during a disaster or something. With the FIFA stuff coming up, a lot of our focus has been on that.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be so huge. It's like having 9 Super Bowls back to back in Arlington.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
And I worked the last Super Bowl in Arlington, and it was busy.
Cool.
So it's one thing too. When your Arlington Fire Department, if you work special events, you're also an employee of the Dallas Cowboys, and you're an employee of the Texas Rangers.
That's cool. I love sports. I'm a sports guy.
I've worked so many events there. In my position, I got to set up in the control box and watch a lot of them. So
Wow,
I
that's
got to see the
cool.
Rolling Stones in concert. How many
That's
people could
cool.
say that, you know? But
That's amazing.
but just sitting on these committees, I sit on I only sit on committees I think will benefit the city.
Yes.
I represent the mayor's council. I sit on the Tarrant County 911 executive board, and they cover. It's a large area. I mean, it's mainly Tarrant County, but we go outside of Tarrant. Well, some areas of Tarrant County. There's some Irving, some other areas that come into it, but we do make all the decisions for that. You know, we have a director, but you know, a lot of stuff has to be approved by us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I almost got roped into being the chair of that, but I kindly declined.
You're a man of many hats.
Well, it's so much to it, the dispatch centers and everything. I don't understand it all, and I'm not going to pretend to.
Yeah.
It need to be somebody in there that did understand that. And I told him, said, you know, I'll be your vice chair if you really want me to. And I was going to do it, but then a lady came back that had been the chair, and I said, give it to her. So that worked out well. But I'm very active with that. I actually started a group here we started off Forest Hill, Kendall, and Everman. I was always running these guys, the mayors at the mayor's council meetings, but I said, hey, we need to get together as small cities and start talking.
Yes.
So I called our first meeting. It was the mayors and city managers, and we got done, and both the mayors and me said, we need to keep this up. Said, this has been very beneficial to us. Said, we can go to each other if we have a question, or we had Public Works in there at one time, and if somebody has a piece of equipment the other city doesn't, we can call and borrow their equipment.
Yes.
And they can call us and borrow something we have. So that way, if you talk to Craig Spencer, there's no point in duplicating efforts. If the small cities can come together, instead of all 4 cities, 3 cities or 4 cities or 5 cities get together and have to do the one thing,
yes,
it makes a lot more sense to put it all together, and cut our cost. And that's what he's done.
Wow.
But now it was the 3 cities. Now we have Edgecliff Village joined our group, and then Dalworthington Gardens heard, and they're about 10 minutes away, but they've started attending our meetings, and we rotate the meetings. Sometimes we'll have somebody come in and speak to us. The last one was a Vergy, a company that comes in and they do analysis on your power usage and stuff, and ways that they can cut your cost of, our parks or whatever to make it more beneficial for the cities.
Yeah.
So, but we meet quarterly right now, and the meeting has been very positive. Like I said, the 3 cities right now. You know, there's been a time when I didn't get along with Forest Hill City Council, or I should say their mayor. You know, Gerald Jobert, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And you know, he got on council because of me. Is when he ran, and he became mayor before me. But still very good friends. But you know, I got along really good with him, but I didn't really get along with your city manager too well, because if it wasn't his idea, it wasn't a good idea. So that, you know, the whole point of us getting together, say, hey, what? And at the time we were looking at bringing this group in, we'd come in and rehabilitate homes for people that were disabled, military, people that are low income, senior citizens, help people their houses were run down, and he didn't want any part of that. And I just thought, why would you not?
Yes.
It cleans up your city. You're helping these people that don't have the financing available to them. And we did some projects at Everman, but because they couldn't get it established down here, they came in and they did 2 or 3 more, and then they said, we're done. They said, we just can't keep working on this scale. So, but it was a group that it's called Six Stones, and they're up in the Hershey's Bedford area. And awesome work they do. They'd go out and solicit donations, and then the city would pay a small portion of the materials. So, but just never could get it to take off. So, there's just so many things that we can do to work with each other.
Yes, yeah. I think
And
that's
like I said, it's been beneficial for us to talk because there may be a situation we've run across that Forest Hill hadn't.
yeah,
And they have come to us before, and we've gone to them before and
right.
said, okay, what have you guys done about this? And we've been able to share or even take the same route. Currently we have the same attorney, Forest Hill and Everman does.
Wow.
And that works out great for us because if we're doing an interlocal agreement between two cities, she does one,
Yeah,
we split the cost.
yeah.
So just anything we can do to reduce our cost and be able to use that money for other things like street repairs.
Yes, bigger projects.
Things that need it.
Yeah, things that are
So,
needed. Yeah.
but
Being on all these, I guess, committees, like you mentioned earlier, not getting on committees unless it's beneficial to the citizens, the people that are part of these communities. What are some things that you're expecting to see take place in regards to the city of Everman, or some new initiatives? What are some things you're excited to see come to pass?
well, I know right now we're in the middle of an annexation that had a property owner came up. It's a large property. They asked us to annex them. So we're doing that. That's the first time the city's grown probably since day one.
Mm.
So, and this is something that's going to be a draw for our city. Uh, it's the old Everman Golf Course. It's Timberview Farmsteads.
Yes, we partnered with them.
And
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, we partnered
amazing
with them for our story time
project they got going out there. I highly recommend anybody, if they have one of their events out there, go out there or go buy a day pass or go out there and spend some time out there. I mean, you feel like you're in the country. It's out there, and you can see the animals.
Yes.
You can pet the animals. You can go into their gardens and stuff, and it's amazing what they've done. But it's a learning. They're teaching kids how to farm and ranch, and everything has to do with that end of. They're getting back to the basics. Where kids have kind of gotten away from that, but we need to get back to that.
Yes.
And but we're doing that. We're still waiting for Wichita Street to get done. So there's been a lot of delays on that. And when we get that done, we've got a really good relationship with Michael Morris and North Central Texas Council of Governments, the TRTC, the Tarrant Regional Transportation Council, I think it is. But they've come in and they're going to redo Forest Hill Drive. And they're actually going to replace one of the old bridges we have there. And when they started doing this, we brought up the flood issue.
Yeah.
So they actually come in and helped us get a flood study done, them and Commissioner Brooks. And they went after grant money to get our flood study done to make it all encompassing. And once they did that, they're setting up their designs to help with our flood situation, which is just awesome. I mean, Michael Moore, I put him right up there with Commissioner Brooks. Just if you've never met this guy, he's so knowledgeable. He just, matter of fact, we need to have another meeting with him, but just see where we're at, because they're going to pay for the traffic lights to come in.
Wow.
We have no traffic lights in the city of Everman.
Yeah.
But they're in the process of purchasing the first one, which will be at Race and Everman Parkway and Shelby Road. So we're looking forward to that, because that's going to help with the school traffic.
Yes, definitely.
We had the McDonald's come in.
I saw. Yeah, I've been there on that area.
What was so amazing about that, we didn't even know about it. We seen it on Google Maps.
Wow.
That it popped up McDonald's. Said there's no McDonald's there, and then found out they were going to build.
Build it, yeah.
And the family is amazing. The family that owns, they own 8 total McDonald's.
Wow.
It's a whole family business, but African American family, and just every time you see them, you just want to hug them. They are just so amazing. They've been very good to the city. And they came to our city because they said, because we are under, or in some areas we're almost at a poverty level.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to come in and help revitalize an area. I'm hoping that'll open up that corridor to maybe some more businesses coming in.
Right.
On Everman Parkway, on the Everman side, not the Fort Worth side, but it's been good.
Yeah.
So, but we've got a lot of business owners like that that really they have a vested interest in our city.
Yeah.
It's not just a business; they're participating partners with our city,
Yeah.
and that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the key word: participating partners, making sure that not only people are saying it, but they're actually doing the work and getting in the trenches and helping you guys succeed in those projects. I think that's amazing. Yeah, I definitely have been in that area and drove past that McDonald's a few times.
Don't go there after school lets out. High school kids, man, it's busy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but it's, we've got a lot of really good restaurants here, but they're mom and pop, hickory stick.
Yeah.
Been there 48, 49 years.
Wow.
And pretty good barbecue, Taco Oasis.
Oh, that's my spot.
Another. Oh,
I think everybody.
well,
me
before
and the
my wife
Sally go
lost her
there.
job, I was eating there about 3 to 4 days a week. So that's my spot too.
Yeah, I love this
My
spot.
wife doesn't care for it too much, but my wife's Hispanic, so she likes Tex-Mex. She doesn't like just Mexican food.
Gotcha.
So it's different.
Yeah, yeah.
But I get the same thing every time I go.
Yeah.
Burrito, ramen, chicken. But we got Medea's soul food restaurant.
Yes, I love Medea's.
Man, if you're hungry, that's the place to go.
Yes, we go.
They give you so much food, you can't finish it.
No, not in one setting. No.
You better just bring somebody with you and share it. So
yeah.
But amazing, just they keep saying they keep looking at relocating, and then they never do, which is great for us.
Yeah, great for us.
We've had some land we've tried to give to them, so hey, build here, and to increase the size of their building and stuff, but they didn't want to pursue it.
Yeah,
I think he's just kind of content where he's at. So we'll see. Hopefully they stay.
Yeah,
they've been there a long time. So, but I'm very proud of our restaurants.
Yes, me too. Before we close the show, Mayor, knowing that you are a man of many hats, a man of service, multiple committees, making sure that you're in position to better these cities, Forest Hill, Everman, and these partnerships, which are amazing. Out of all of that, what does the time look like in regards to spending quality time with your family, your wife, your kids, your grandchildren? What does that look like? And making sure that you give them time.
Well, I'm retired, and my wife, she kind of forced retirement, but she's retired. So we spend a lot of time together. We just got back off a 10-day cruise. Me and my wife did. We're planning on doing a lot of cruising. So when we have time, we'll try to do maybe 3-4 cruises a year, hopefully. So if we can go to places we hadn't been to, then and that's what we did last time. The 10-day took us further out and got to go to Turks and Caicos and Dominican Republic. Beautiful island.
Yeah, I've heard.
And had a lot of fun there. My grandkids, on 2 of the grandkids we pick up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the other 2 we pick up every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from school. So and a couple of them, every other weekend they stay with us. So we see them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as they'd like, but it's kind of hard to handle all 4 of them at one time.
Right.
So,
right.
But quickly, just a couple of things I'm really proud of. When I ran for mayor, my platform was no preferential treatment for anybody. And I told our police officers, if you see one of our council members speeding, doing something wrong, you treat them like anybody else. You're not going to say, oh, you're a council member, let them go.
Wow.
If you give somebody else a ticket for that, they get a ticket. I've told our code enforcement, if they have a issue at their house or whatever, don't let them off because they're council members.
Yeah.
We have to set at a higher level.
Yes.
And I've taken that to heart. I've had some citizens came up wanting me to pull strings for them, and I've told them, said, you don't understand. When I ran for mayor, it was no preferential treatment for anybody. You must abide by the same rules everybody else does.
Wow.
And I'm going to stick to that. I sit on the committee at Hughley. It's a family patient advocacy type group. And Hughley didn't have the best reputation. And since I've been on the committee 2 years now, and we go in there and they show us stuff. They come in, test our food or whatever, and we'll give them our comments. Just as good, bad, or whatever.
Right.
What can they do to make it more patient and family friendly? And everything we told them, they've taken to heart. So anybody that's been to Hughley and had a bad experience, please give them another chance. It's not the same hospital. Texas Health Resources came in and they are very caring. I actually, after I got on the committee, I had to go to the hospital. My gallbladder went out, and went in for that, and everything we had requested them to do, they did. They didn't know who I was. And then I had to go back and have surgery, and it's the best experience I ever had.
Wow.
At a hospital. And I tell everybody, just give them a chance. It just, it's not the same hospital you went to and had the bad experience. So anybody out there that if they say they're going to take you to Hughley, then, like I said, don't fight it. They're doing so much with the new facilities and everything out there. It's a wonderful hospital to go to now.
Wow.
So I'm not trying to sell on their part, but I know we've done a lot of work meeting with them, and they're listening. Like I said, they're doing everything that we as a group have asked them to do.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing the changes they've made.
Yeah.
They don't like being told that you're known as the hospital you go to die at. And that was their reputation for a long time. So I told them that, their eyes got about this big. Thought, really? Yeah. And one of the nurses stood up and said, I've heard that.
Wow.
So, but they've done a complete 180. It's an amazing hospital.
Wow. We thank you, Mayor Ray Richardson, for being on our show today, man. I think today was great, great conversation, and we're grateful for all the work that you do, being the mayor of the city of Everman. I would just suggest keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep leading, from the front, great leadership skills. And you spoke earlier on about holding people accountable, whether you're in a position or not, treating them as if you would treat someone else who's in the neighborhood. And so, yeah, definitely grateful. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
I'm there. I'm at the will of the citizens. As long as they want me there, I'm planning on staying.
Yeah.
So, them or God decides it's my time, then I'm gonna do as long as I can make a difference.
Right.
So, and when it branches out to the other cities, then that's even better.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Ordinary Conversations with Extraordinary People, and today I definitely believe we had an extraordinary conversation on today. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you've done, and we continue to hopefully build here with the Forest Public Library and also with the city of Everman, and to give the community what they need. So thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right. We'll see you out here shortly. Don't go nowhere. Peace.